your big story breakdown.
What this audit highlights is just how broad, unrestrained, and unchecked OTA's legal authority is.
In tonight's Big Story Breakdown, we are digging into the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. The state auditor says she just completed the first investigative audit of OTA in its nearly 80 years of existence. Cindy Bird says when lawmakers created the OTA, they essentially gave them a blank check. And Adam, I know you've been digging deeper into OTA's history. Tell us what you've learned.
Yeah, we got to take a look back so that we can take a look forward. And Wendy, the OTA was established in 1947, given extensive statutory powers to finance, build, and maintain the turnpikes. Its first mission was to build one between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. We actually have the picture here. This is from the Oklahoma History Center. You got to take a look at this. It's unbelievable. It's the Turner Turnpike's opening day in 1953. Now, that original route was financed through bond issues. The same year, the legislature reorganized the Turnpike Authority and expanded its scope to allow it to build a turnpike system across the state. The expansion approved by voters in 1954. Now, this allowed the OTA to build a Will Rogers Turnpike in 1957, followed by the H.E. Bailey Turnpike in the 1960s. And by the end of the 20th century, the state system had grown to include about 10 turnpikes and 600 miles or more, making it one of the most extensive toll road systems in the nation at the time. Now, OTA continues to operate multiple limited access toll roads, which are funded through toll revenue and bonds instead of state or federal money.
For years, there have been calls for an audit into the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. In 2022, State Senator Mary Boren filed a resolution aiming to have the state auditor review OTA's finances. Grassroots groups, including Pike Off OTA, were also publicly pushing for an audit and transparency that same year. Around that time, Fox 25 also began reporting on the OTA controversies tied to Access Oklahoma and the calls for the audits. In March of 2023, the Oklahoma Attorney General formally requested an investigative audit after hearing concerns from the community and legislature about OTA's financial conduct. So now State Auditor Cindy Bird outlining what her office found in that investigative audit into OTA.
She says the AG requested this. They didn't outline any specific allegations, just a wide array of concerns. So her office took the list of concerns, went through them one by one, resulting in a lengthy audit. Bird says they found OTA largely acted within its broad legal authority.
Related to the Access program, we examined engineering and design contractors, the bond issuance process, and land acquisitions. We also examined surplus land and land auctions from previous projects, OTA transactions with multiple state agencies, the Gilcrease Turnpike, which operates on a separate financial system from the other toll roads, and OTA's flow of funds structure. The main issue we discovered within OTA's operations were some of its contracting practices. OTA left a thin paper trail when it comes to engineering contracts. There is really no written documentation to justify the selection of engineering contractors or to prove that OTA negotiated prices in favor of the taxpayers. That leaves a lot of room for questions.
Bird is calling for a more transparent process for engineering contractor selection and for OTA to have thorough documentation of the process from beginning to end. She's also urging OTA to eliminate all potential conflicts of interest after finding several concerning instances. She also wants OTA to verify the receipt of services for every single contractor before issuing payment. She says these are basic accounting practices and will help close the gaps. Now, another area of concern Bird noted today, the relationship between OTA and the Department of Public Safety. Bird says they found several irregularities with this dynamic.
By an agreement and statute, OTA funds a portion of DPS's payroll, benefits, and equipment costs. By law, OTA is only allowed to cover the cost of two things: patrolling the turnpike system and partial funding of the Patrol Academy for new troopers who help police the turnpikes. Yet OTA could not verify that it was only covering costs that pertain to toll roads. We recommend that OTA review current practices with legal counsel, especially in light of the statutory obligation to keep costs to a minimum.
The Attorney General also raised concerns about certain transactions between the OTA and the Department of Transportation. Bird says she did examine the relationship there, found no violations of the law, noting all shared service agreements and payments appear to have been reasonable.
As we mentioned, the Attorney General requested this investigative audit back in 2023. We asked the auditor, why did it take so long to release?
I told the Attorney General that it would not be started for an entire year after that request was given to us. At that time, we had quite a backlog in investigative audits. Typically, whenever we are asked to do an investigative audit, there is some allegation of a crime, some allegation of wrongdoing. We were told to go audit the Turnpike Authority. Because my office is not responsible for conducting the annual financial audit of the Turnpike Authority, they are allowed to contract out for that service and choose their auditor. We were asked to go in on an agency, not an agency, on an authority, which is a political subdivision. We had to gain an understanding of how this operates, and then we had to look at essentially everything with no real direction into any criminal allegations.
The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority is thanking Byrd's office for this first of its kind investigative audit. OTA says it's pleased to have independent confirmation that it is following all state statutes and there's no evidence of non-compliance with Oklahoma law. It plans to review the audit in more detail and consider how and where it can strengthen its policies and improve documentation of its procedures and internal controls. As for the engineering contract selection concerns that Byrd outlined, OTA says contractors are selected by an internal review committee, which does not include the executive director. According to OTA, it was incorrectly reflected in the audit report, and as a matter of policy, they say this does not happen. As for where things go from here, a big part of the responsibility falls to the legislature. The auditor said lawmakers may want to revisit the relevant statutes and create more guardrails for OTA.
Fox 25's Rob Hagan's got your back asking the question, what comes next?
That's right, Adam, Wendy, handpicked contractors naming their own prices, just one of the issues we told you about highlighted in this investigative audit. Now, one organization and several lawmakers plan to do something about it. The call for action continues after the state auditor released the findings of her investigative audit into the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority.
The legislature has no excuse not to bring this up in session.
Pike Off OTA President Amy Serrato says she's filing 2 lawsuits against the OTA to fight the Southern Extension project leveling more than 70 homes.
My problem is that we don't have a state law to hold anybody accountable. So they could say, too bad, too sad, and keep going on for the next 70 years.
The state auditor said it's up to the legislature to make changes. So I asked Senator Mary Boren.
What are you willing to do about the OTA and what you heard today?
Well, I'm willing to continue to empower Oklahomans to hold their government accountable.
Boren says she's also working across the aisle to battle the OTA, said to be operating unchecked.
If this keeps going, it could be where people are paying $200 a month just to get to work on a toll road.
There is a rampant problem of state agencies that have more sway and more influence on the legislative process than the taxpayers who are footing the bill.
State Senators Mary Boren and Shane Jett voted yes on a bill authored by Lisa Standridge eliminating the transfer of property to a state agency taken by eminent domain. But at the end of the day, these lawmakers say change won't start until some candidates serving on committees are voted out.
If you are sick and tired of people representing state agencies or industries instead of taxpayers, well, the filing deadline is April 1, 2, and 3. Run for office.
We have people that are there to stick up for Oklahomans, and we have the people that are there to stick up for the people that make a lot of money off of Oklahomans.
Now, the state auditor said the reason why this audit took so long was because of the massive backlog of investigative audits and 25% fewer employees. But something to note here, this audit only goes back 4 years out of 79 of the OTA. Live at the state capitol, Rob Hagan, Fox 25 News.
Rob, thank you. And tonight we're also hearing from the Attorney General, Gittner Drummond, about the audit findings. In a statement, he says the audit made clear the need for increased oversight, accountability, and transparency at the OTA. He's urging leadership at OTA to take the findings seriously and use this as an opportunity for meaningful reform. Drummond says his office will continue to monitor OTA's operations. Another question we're hearing is, why do we still pay for tolls if some turnpikes are already paid off? The original bonds for the Turner Turnpike have long been paid off, but tolls are still required. Back in the 50s, the Oklahoma legislature changed how turnpikes were financed by cross-pledging. This means all revenue from turnpikes is pooled together to pay off the collective outstanding bonds of the entire system, not just the original bonds. OTA also issues new or refunding bonds to pay for improvements or expansions under this setup. Tolls continue on all turnpikes until the debt is gone.
This year, there's a bill filed to get rid of the cross-pledging system. House Bill 3726 would change how the OTA finances turnpike debt. The measure would prohibit cross-pledging toll revenue between projects, meaning after a certain date, each turnpike's bonds would need to be secured only by that route's own revenue rather than using pooled system-wide funds. The measure also requires separate revenue accounts for each turnpike or project. This bill has not yet been heard in any committee, and tomorrow is the deadline. That was your big story breakdown. You can learn more about today's audit on the OTA on our website, okcfox.com.
Plus, you can head to our YouTube page where you can watch all of our big story breakdowns. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen or search OKC Fox.